My sister sold our family house behind my back. She didn't know Mom left me one clause that would bring it all back. The house was gone before I even finished grieving. That's the sentence people always pause at. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's efficient. My mother passed on a Thursday. By the following Wednesday, my older sister had already signed the paperwork to sell the only home we had ever known. I found out from a stranger, a real estate agent, cheerful and apologetic, calling to confirm my availability for final walkthrough access. And quote, "I think you may have the wrong number," I told her. There was a pause. Then, gently, "Is this not Daniel Carter, co-owner of 14 Willow Bend?" Co-owner. That word landed harder than grief. I said. "Well," she replied carefully, "the property has already been transferred. Your sister handled the transaction." Handled. Suck a polite word for theft. If you've ever had someone make a life-changing decision for you and call it handling things, comment 1. Some people don't take control. They just rename it. I drove to the house immediately. Reflex. Grief doesn't always cry. Sometimes it accelerates. The driveway looked the same. The crooked mailbox. The cracked cement step my mother always said she'd fix next spring. The curtains were gone. That's how I knew something was wrong before I even opened the door. Or tried to. The key didn't turn. Of course it didn't. Because ownership, apparently, now came with upgraded locks. I stood there for a moment, key in hand, not angry yet, just recalibrating. Then the door opened. Clara stood there, perfect posture, perfect timing, always perfect. "Oh," she said, like I was an unexpected package. "You came. I live here," I said. She smiled, that kind of smile that doesn't reach anywhere important. "Not anymore." I should explain Clara. She's 3 years older than me, which meant growing up she was always just ahead. First to graduate. First to move out. First to understand how the world actually worked. And first to realize that if you say something confidently enough, people rarely question it. She wasn't cruel in the obvious ways. No screaming, no drama, just decisions. Clean, final, irreversible. Like signing a house away while your brother is still picking out flowers for your mother's funeral. "I didn't think you'd come back so soon," she said, leaning lightly against the doorframe. "I never left," I replied. That annoyed her. "Good. The house is under contract," she continued. "It's easier this way. No upkeep, no emotional burden." Burden. That word, used so carefully, so strategically. "Where are my things?" I asked. "They've been packed," she said. "I can have them delivered." Thanks for watching. They've been packed and delivered. Like I was no longer part of the address. If you've ever noticed how people use professional language to erase personal relationships, comment 1. It's always efficient, practical, better for everyone, never honest. I didn't argue. That's important. Because arguments require shared reality, and Clara had already moved us into a different one. Instead, I said, "Okay, then I'll just take a look inside." She hesitated. "Just a second." "But enough. I don't think that's necessary," she said. Necessary. Another word doing too much work. That's when I remembered something. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just small. A conversation with my mother about 2 months before she passed. We were sitting at the kitchen table. She was folding laundry slowly, like time had started to resist her. "Daniel," she said, "promise me something." "I don't like promises that come with that tone," I replied. She smiled, still sharp. "I don't have." "Just listen." She reached into the drawer beside her and took out a thin folder. Plain. Unlabeled. Inside was a single document. I didn't read it then. I didn't want to. Because reading documents like that makes things real. And I wasn't ready for real. "Keep this safe," she said. "For what?" "For later." That was all. I had forgotten about it. Grief does that. It doesn't erase memory, it just delays access. Standing on that porch, locked out of my own life, I suddenly remembered where I had put it. In my bag. The same bag still sitting in my car. I'll come back later, I told Clara. She nodded, relieved. That was her mistake. Relief makes people careless. I didn't go far, just down the street, parked under the old oak tree, and opened the folder. Inside was a legal addendum. Short, precise, devastating. My mother had included a clause in her will. Not flashy, not dramatic, just specific. Any sale of the property required written consent from both beneficiaries. Both. Not one. Not majority. Both. And any transaction completed without that consent was subject to immediate legal reversal. I read it twice. Then a third time. Not because I didn't understand, but because I needed to feel it settle. Like gravity returning. If you've ever had a moment where everything flips, not because something new happened, but because you finally understood something, comment 1. Those are the moments that change everything quietly. I called a lawyer. Not ours. Not Clara's. Mine. His name was Mr. Hayes. Calm voice. No wasted words. The kind of person who doesn't react emotionally because he doesn't need to. This is straightforward, he said after reviewing the document. She sold it anyway. Yes, he replied, which makes it reversible. Reversible. Such a beautiful word. The next 48 hours were not dramatic. No shouting. No confrontation. Just process. Calls. Filings. Notifications. By Friday morning, the buyers had been informed. By Friday afternoon, the sale was frozen. By Saturday, it was undone. Clara called me that evening. For the first time, she didn't sound composed. You went behind my back, she said. I almost laughed. Almost. I learned from you, I replied. Silence. Then, you're making this harder than it needs to be. There it was again. That philosophy. That quiet belief that difficulty is something other people create when they don't cooperate. I'm not making it harder, I said. I'm making it correct. We met 2 days later. At the house. Of course, because some conversations require location. She looked tired. Not devastated. Not broken. Just inconvenienced. Which, for Clara, was the closest thing to vulnerability. You could have just talked to me, she said. I nodded. You could have waited, I replied. We stood in the living room. Same walls. Same light. Different gravity. You don't even want the house, she said. That's not the point. Then what is? I looked around. At the staircase. At the window my mother used to open every morning. At the place where memory still lived. The point, I said, is that you don't get to decide what matters for both of us. She didn't respond, because there was nothing left to translate. In the end, we didn't sell the house. Not immediately, not impulsively. We kept it, for a while, long enough to decide properly, together, which, apparently, had been the missing step all along. I still have that folder. Same one, same document, slightly worn now, not because it's been used often, but because sometimes I take it out and read that one line again, the clause, the protection, the quiet correction my mother built into the future. Because in the end, she didn't just leave us a house, she left us balance.